Okay.
All right, with Judah today, three-star 2021 quarterback from Ohio, from Westerville Central. How you doing today, Judah?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Doing really well. Excited to talk to you after watching you sling the pigskin around the yard last year and just tear it up. Yeah, really excited to talk to you today about everything that you had going on the field. So 2019 season, so that was your season to shine after backing up LeBron Davis as a
hmm
sophomore. So your game had to grow with all the experience by leaps and bounds. Which areas of your game do you feel grew the most last season?
Um, Not so much like the throwing and like footwork and stuff like that. It was mostly just like the leadership role, filling that, and that kind of carried everything else. Um, with like being able to tell everyone what to do, they had to look up to me, which made me grow as a player and a whole. So that was probably the biggest thing for me
I
throughout the
gotcha.
season.
Yeah, it's tough as a leader, knowing when to chime in
Yeah.
and kind of fill that out, and which guys are going to respond to what.
Yep. Yep.
Some guys are a little more sensitive than others with stuff
hmm
like that. So back to you. At which point during the season, given this was your first, real full
hmm
season starting in varsity, when did everything start to slow down and you were clicking with your receivers, clicking with your offensive line?
Um, After it was after the first game because I was really nervous for the first game and I didn't play that well. And then after that, I kind of like really like understood. I was like, okay, this is nothing I can't handle. And then after that, I was completely fine. Everything was easier than I made it out to be after the first game.
It's confidence, right? It's so
Yeah,
much of sports is confidence and believing in
yeah,
yourself, and
yeah,
that's awesome. It came that quickly.
for
So
sure.
what style of offense were you guys running last season?
You're on like the spread, just like basic, four receivers, one running back, just stuff like that.
And then, so what were some of the routes that the Warhawk receivers were running? What were you connecting on with the offense?
We run a lot of 10-yard outs, post, skinny post. We'll do a lot of speed outs, hitches, slants, most of that stuff.
Almost the whole tree. It
Yeah,
sounds like.
pretty much the whole thing.
That's cool. And then, so what were some of the coverages that you were seeing? So when you're dropping back, you guys are running all this stuff. How are they trying to stop you?
Um, some like most of the teams did quarters and cover four, and then mixed with cover three. We only saw man once. Teams didn't really want to try that, I guess, after the one time we did. And then yeah, it was mostly just cover three, cover four quarters. Mostly the things I saw.
Okay, so we talked about the offense you were running, what you were
Mhm.
going up against, the routes, how your game improved. So there may be some overlap here, but when the season ended, what did you feel were the strengths overall to your game as a quarterback? You had the leadership going for you, all
Mhm.
that. So, what were all the things that you were doing really well?
I really thought I could make the tough throws in the tight windows. Um, I felt I could escape the pocket really well when I needed to. Um, we do like a lot of like RPOs and stuff, so I thought I did really well at the season, learning and being able to pull the ball when I need to or switch the play. So that was probably like the main thing I would say my strength was.
Yeah, you had one really sweet. It may have been like a 20-yard touchdown run where you pulled it and the linebackers
Yeah.
was wide open. It was pretty,
hmm
yeah.
Yeah.
So you haven't talked about this too much yet, so brag on you a little bit here. So hope you don't mind. But so watching you play, you have that effortless release with power. How
hmm
have you worked on, so this is a combination of things. It's not just all arm strength, it's, technique. How have you
hmm
worked on all that over the years to be able to develop that?
It's honestly like, well, my quarterback coach, he's always like emphasized the long ball, and like when that comes, everything else kind of comes easier. So that like the emphasis on that like has really helped, and like when getting my core a lot stronger this year helped so much, like being stable, being able to like get that power in to throw. So that was huge coming in this year with getting emphasis on that, which helped everything else. So yeah.
Cool. So you kind of touched on what I'm going to next here is you talked about what you worked on last year. What are you working on this spring to prepare for the 2020 season?
Well, I've gotten a ton, a lot stronger over from December to now, and then speed is a big thing also. I got a new speed trainer that I didn't have before. He's really, really good. So that is because a lot of coaches were saying, "I'm going to see how well you can move and speed." Because I didn't run the ball at all last year, but I was talking to my head coach, and I was like, "I'm going to be able to run the ball this year because speed is definitely something I'm going to get good at." So yeah.
There you go. And then, so we talked about what you're working on physically with your game this off season. How are you expanding your knowledge or your understanding of the game this spring?
Well, every day I try to watch film. I go game by game of our schedule next year with the teams we have film of. So that's what I try to do a lot of. I look up how to beat certain coverages to get better at that. That's mainly like mentally. And whenever I do I'll do like throwing sessions with my team. We'll do I'll put them in a coverage to help me understand it better, stuff like that.
That's cool. So you're doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So my favorite part, or one of my favorite parts of interviewing you guys going into recruiting. So if you will, which schools right now are showing interest that have not offered yet?
Schools like some of the Ivy League schools, like Yale, Harvard, those are showing interest, and then Purdue's off and on showing interest. Louisville, schools like that. Those are like the main two that have offered. But so far, everything's harder right now with not being able to go on visits. But once everything clears up, definitely it'll be expanded more.
Right. And you do have a couple of schools that have offered already. Which schools have extended a scholarship to you?
Penn University, and then Columbia has. Those are the two.
That's awesome. Means you're getting it done in the classroom as well. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then, dating back to the 2019 season, up until they closed the campuses down, did you get a chance to take any unofficial visits, if it was for a game day, junior day, or any other reason?
Yeah, I went to Buffalo and Georgia Tech.
How did the Buffalo visit go?
It was really well. There was a lot of people there at first, and then I think there was probably at least like 80 kids there, and then they pulled about 5 aside to talk to the head coach, and I was one of those. So that was really cool. Talked to him for about 10 minutes, and so that was really sweet. And then for Georgia Tech, I went and talked to the offensive coordinator for a long time, went over their plays, and we talked for a while. So they both went really well.
That's awesome. This is really cool. All right.
Yeah.
So Judah, I appreciate your time today. It sounds like you have everything going your way. I'm excited to see how the 2020 season goes for you. And
yeah, me too.
Keep up the hard work, my man.
Thank you.
Thank you.